Good evening Philippines and good evening world. You are watching CNN. Yemen is experiencing the world's worst food security crisis with 20.1 billion people, nearly two-thirds of the population requiring food assistance at the beginning of 2020. Since March 2015, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates or UAE, have led a military coalition against Houthi-led forces that took over Yemen's capital, Sana'a. In September 2014 and 2020, fighting in northern Yemen is increased sharply when the Houthis seized new areas held by the internationally recognized Yemeni government and advanced toward the Marib Governorate, where thousands of Yemenis were internally displaced and faced dire humanitarian conditions and increased risk of COVID-19. Yemen's economy has been ravaged by years of conflict. Millions of people in Yemen have lost their income due to business closures, and some working in the public sector have not received their full salaries regularly, leading to increased poverty. Millions of civilians in Yemen depend on humanitarian aid. All parties to the armed conflict in Yemen and have committed serious violations of the laws of war, many of which may amount to war crimes by responsible personnel. In 2020, Saudi-led coalition forces conducted airstrikes that indiscriminately killed and injured civilians. As of March, the Saudi-led coalition had conducted between 20,624 and 58,487 airstrikes since March 2015, according to the Yemen Data Project. Almost a third of all airstrikes carried out by the coalition hit civilian objects such as residential homes, hospitals, schools, weddings, farms, food stores, school buses, markets, mosques, bridges, civilian factories, detention centers, and water wells. Roughly 80% of Yemen's population required humanitarian aid, including over 12 million children. UNICEF warned that the number of children under the age of 5 who suffer from acute malnutrition could rise to 2.4 million in 2020. The International Committee of the Red Cross, or ICRC, reported in October 2019 that 50% of Yemeni children are experiencing irreversible stunted growth. UNICEF warned in June that 7.8 million children had no access to education following COVID-19 related school closures, and nearly 10 million did not have adequate access to water and sanitation. In 2020, the Yemeni government, the Houthi armed group, and the STC-affiliated security belt forces abused women and committed acts of gender-based violence, including sexual violence. The UN Group of experts reported numerous allegations of rape by STC-affiliated forces in recent years, including the rape of an internally displaced woman in Aden and April. Violence against women increased during the COVID-19 crisis, according to UN Women in Yemen. Women also continue to face severe discrimination in law and practice. They cannot marry without the permission of their male guardian and do not have equal rights to divorce, inheritance, or child custody. Lack of legal protection leaves them exposed to domestic and sexual violence. Child marriage also continued, and Yemen still has no minimum age of marriage. In June 31, international donors pledged about $1.35 in humanitarian aid for Yemen, far below to $2.4 billion. The UN agencies required to keep all programs running in the country. Lack of funding has led to the reduction or shutdown of more than one-third of the UN's humanitarian programs in Yemen. UN Special Envoy for Yemen Martin Griffiths has been leading negotiations between the Houthi armed group and the Yemeni government with little progress. The UN Security Council continued to impose a sanctions regime against just one side, the Houthis, even though the Saudi-led coalition has committed numerous violations of the laws of war. This is Glazel Newmawan reporting, CNN.